Dr. Javaid is board-certified OBGYN and menopause expert, and she is the Chief Medical Officer of HerMD. And we're going to tell a little story about everybody loving HerMD but not realizing that they were coming today. So every conversation, oh, have you tried HerMD yet at Berry Farms? Well, I kind of know somebody who might know somebody to get you in. So thank you for being here and pitch hitting. I appreciate it. And Dani Williamson is an integrative health nurse practitioner, and she is the founder of Integrative Family Medicine in Franklin. And so Dani takes more of a functional approach to health, and if I'm not mistaken, you have a wait list 1.5 miles long for people. So we were very lucky to get her today. So if you're on her wait list, ask the questions now, because you have her.
Or read the book.
Or read the book.
You don't even need me if you read the book. So.
I still need you.
I took your Serenity elixir today.
Is that on?
Yes, Serenity Elixir. It's great.
Testing. Am I on?
You don't sound, okay, you are.
But I took it today because I thought I would need it because I'm nervous. So.
And that's why she's come. And then Val Schoenberg, who was a guest on our podcast for the first season. She's a registered dietitian and nutritionist. She's also NAM certified, North American Menopause certified nutritionist. And she's going to talk to us today about healthy eating. I know perhaps picking the time when you're all eating might not have been the best time, but we're going to work with it. So we want to start How to Stay Healthy panel with Dr. Javaid. And Somi, you have a very personal connection to heart disease and your mom, and I'm going to ask you to tell that story, but most women, I don't know if you realize that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. And it is important for you to know what to ask your doctor. It is important to know that our symptoms are not the same as men. We're not going to clutch our chest and feel pain. But I thought we could start out with why it's a personal story for you and what women need to know about when it comes to cardiovascular health.
Hello, everyone. When my mother was only 45 years old, she nearly lost her life to cardiovascular disease. She presented with left arm pain, shortness of breath, and chest pain. Most of you in the room, even if you're not a doctor, can Google those symptoms now and figure out it was her heart. But her doctors insisted it was stress, it was too much caffeine, it was her children, that maybe she needed to go away and take a little bit of a rest. I was pre-med at Northwestern at the time looking at this EKG going, oh my God, it's abnormal. Fast forward, she actually emergently underwent quadruple bypass surgery and is alive and well to this day. But when the surgeon, yes, thank you. When the surgeon came out, he told us she had a 95% occlusion of her widowmaker lesion, and if the heart attack would have come, she would not have survived. So this very broken healthcare system that makes women invisible doesn't have data or science to explain why a thin, non-smoking 45-year-old woman would ever present with four-vessel disease is the reason I went into healthcare, and I said, I'm going to change the world. Fast forward, got my first real job after medical school and residency. I was seeing 50 patients a day. I didn't have time to go to the bathroom or eat, let alone be an advocate or keep that promise that I made to my younger self. And so when the timing was right, decided to open my own center where women would be educated, advocated, and empowered for, and they would be partners in their healthcare.
Which is amazing. But just to follow up, with cardiovascular health, when a woman goes for her physical exam and gets the 0.3 seconds with the doctor, what quick questions should they be asking? Like, what should they be aware of that might be a concern for them for their heart health?
So you want data, right? Everyone's data, so you can make calculated decision. There's not a one-size-fits-all. We're really moving to precision medicine. And so everyone knows, like, smoking is not great for you, alcohol in moderation. Exercise. You can actually change your arteries and your vasculature by exercising. It's not just about being skinny, it's about heart health. Hormones can also help. That's why after menopause, we see a huge increase in cardiovascular disease in women. But there's a test that you can opt for that insurance doesn't cover. It's not crazy expensive. It's a coronary calcium score, and it gives you an idea of what your cardiovascular risk is for the next couple of years. My patients love it because it's a data point, but it also helps them decide, hey, I have a family history of cardiovascular disease, but my cholesterol's okay. I want to know this because that's going to make me have an informed decision about whether or not I am comfortable with hormone therapy, whether or not you are, Dr. Javaid, right? Because that's the best thing. It doesn't matter if I think it's the best. The patient has to be comfortable with it. So cholesterol, knowing your numbers and knowing your data points, and knowing that there are other optionalities available for you so you can make informed decisions.
And can you please just end that with sharing that it is okay to not stay with your doctor? Because there are so many women who, I've been with them 20 years. It would hurt his feelings if I left. Well, it could kill you, okay? So the reality is if you don't feel like you are getting the answers from your doctor, it's okay to break up, you know? And could you talk about that?
Yeah, a lot of people do not want to break up with their doctors either because they delivered all their babies or they feel guilty. You're not cheating on us. You're cheating on yourself. That's what I want you to think about. If you don't advocate for your own health care, my mother almost died, and she was in Cleveland, Ohio, the mecca of cardiovascular care. But her problem was she was a minority woman and she had a vagina. That's the truth of the matter. Women have not been included in clinical research trials. So do not feel guilty. Do not waste time and energy begging your doctor to listen to you. Instead, spend that energy and time finding someone who will listen to you.
And after saying that, and I know, Dani, I'm probably going to pivot a little bit because of your own story about how you had to advocate. You had to be an advocate for yourself to find answers to what was happening to your body. And can you share how you did that? You wanted to get the right answers, and you went back to school. So can you share a little bit about how you were an advocate for yourself?
Oh, yeah. I went back to school at 40 to nurse practitioner school, and I was the oldest one in my class. But prior to that, I had spent 24 years seeing doctors, 10 doctors, 4 colonoscopies. I grew up in a tremendous amount of childhood trauma, molested by a stepfather, beat up by another one, and lots of things. It's all in the book. But, chronic IBS, diagnosed with lupus, fibromyalgia, depression. I was 44 years old, just out of nurse practitioner school, before a doctor ever leaned into me and said, Dani, what are you eating? Don't you know your diet controls your disease? It changed the entire trajectory of my life. I hope my children's lives, I know thousands of patients' lives have been changed by those questions that Dr. Kalb asked me 13 years ago. There's not enough gluten in the world to make me go back to how I felt when I was 44 years old. I feel better at 57 than I ever did at 47. So what's at the end of your fork will heal you or kill you. It is as simple as that. Now, childhood trauma adds to that as well. So I changed everything. I changed my diet. I wrote a whole book on eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, de-stress well, and commune well. And it's key.
It is, absolutely.
Very few of us are born sick. Some people are, but the majority of us are not. We turn on chronic lifestyle diseases. Those are diseases that are turned on by your lifestyle and turned off by your lifestyle. And I am living proof that whatever it is you've been diagnosed with, you can reverse it or at least dial it back so far under the radar that you don't even know you have it. I was not born with lupus. My mother was not born with Alzheimer's. She just died last month of Alzheimer's. She turned those on. So always remember that.
Do you want to talk? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, your book. Wanted to know the title of your book.
Wild and Well. It's out there, the first booth when you walk out the door. Wild and Well. Dani's 6 steps to common sense practical medicine. Radical healing. No, what am I saying? Common sense steps to radical healing. And it is common sense, people. It's not rocket science. Garbage in equals garbage out. Stress will kill you. If you're not sleeping, you're going to die, right? If you're not eating well, you're going to die. You have to move your body. You have to poop, for God's sake. You have to poop. And if your doctor tells you that, oh, it's all right, some people just poop once a week, you need a new doctor.
Dani,
right?
we've talked about this.
Yes, we
okay?
have talked about it.
Everyone who listens to the podcast knows I have a lot of poop discussions, okay? It's an issue. You can thank my mother. It's just... And you had said to me, try this, try that, try that. But again, it can be a genetic thing. Getting back to stress, because every person in here has a cell phone. They are stressed. Who's texting me during this event? Can I check? Wait, I'll just put it on silent. You have a couple of suggestions on how to lower stress in very realistic ways. Can you talk about those?
Yeah. I talk about a lot about AED your life. My friend Michael Hyatt actually taught me this. AED, you know, the automatic or external defibrillators, boom, that bring you back to life if you fall off the treadmill at the gym. AED, automate, eliminate, and delegate everything you can in your life. Automate everything you can, right? Pay your bills, whatever, it doesn't matter, your grocery. Going to the grocery is a business maneuver or business decision for me because I see all my patients there and all that. So I love to go to the grocery, but if you don't like to go to the grocery, you know, order it, whatever. I don't even know how you do that, but have it. Instacart. That's it. So, but pay your bills, all of that. Automate everything you can. Eliminate everything that's not serving you well. And that goes for the people in your life. Someone mentioned about you have the right to set your boundaries with people, right? Get the soul suckers out of your life. You have the right to set your boundaries, you know, with patients or with people, with patients too. Yeah, that was a slip. But you have the right to set your boundaries with patients as well. But, you know, eliminate everything you can, right? And delegate everything else. As women, we're not great delegators, but I am telling you, it will change your life. Automate, eliminate, and delegate. We are a nation of empty vessels. We are pouring from empty vessels as women specifically. And Eleanor Brown says, you know, when you fill your vessel up, it's the overflow that everyone benefits from. You are worthy to have a vessel that is full, and you're worthy to have a vessel that is full. When you build your life so that your vessel is full and it's overflowing, everyone else benefits from it. So build your life, build your self-care into your life. I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know. It's different for everyone in here. But I am telling you, Thanksgiving is next month. If it stresses you out to have Thanksgiving and Christmas at your house, then guess what? Today's the day after this event to text your family and say, you know what? I'm not having Thanksgiving this year. It stresses me out. Someone else is going to have it. But Dani, we've done it for 20 years at my house. Do you enjoy it? No. Well, then don't do it. But you have the right to set your boundaries. And as women, you have to know that. Mm-hmm. You have to, because it is a huge piece of your healing. Stress will kill you. It will kill you.
No, and echoing that, we know inflammation
is the devil. I have a whole chapter on it.
It causes cardiovascular disease and increases your risk of cancers. And we know that gender specifically, women are more susceptible to inflammatory markers than men. So it's even more important for us to say, no. Well, if you love Thanksgiving, don't say no to Thanksgiving, but no to the things that don't fill your bucket.
Exactly right.
And then everything you're talking about, the blue zones, you guys know the blue zones, right?
Yes.
Where they have very, very high percentage of the population that live to 100. They are mitigating their stress.
That's
community.
Right.
They're eating clean. So all the things that are being said on stage, we see there are 6 places in the world. But did anyone watch the special that's on Netflix? I thought it was really, really well done.
We did interview Dan Buettner.
Yeah. And so what I thought was really, really hopeful that I love as a scientist is that because my husband's like, great, we have to move to Ikaria. I'm like, I'll go. Like, when? But you can reproduce them in industrialized areas by doing a lot of the things that we're talking about.
Speaking of that, you know, I want to get Val into the conversation because you talk to a lot of women our age. And at this point, a lot of us have some junk in the trunk that we did not have before. We have some weight gain that maybe we don't know where it came from, but, well, we know where it came from, but we'll say we don't. And you talk not so much about dieting, because we were raised to think dieting and healthy eating, same thing. If we're healthy eating, we're dieting. It's not the same thing. And as we get older, what should healthy eating for women of our demographic look like? What are the do's, what are the don'ts? And please be kind with the don'ts.
Well, can you hear me okay? After following what Dani just said, I guess we got some of that information, so it's hard to follow. I think the most important thing is to get away from generalizations and generic advice about food and eating and exercise, because it's really easy for us to try to hone in on what's that one thing that's going to fix this change that you're talking about. And so some of it is a medical mystery. Most women that come to me have already tried for the better of 40 years, probably to change their body, control their body, eat healthy. Most people know, eat fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean protein and fish and nuts and seeds and, the mantra, right? And in the 80s, we were raised with, and don't eat fat, no fat, and then now fat is a good thing. So I think there's a lot of confusing messages about food and eating and exercise, and then you find yourself completely lost. And so bringing it back to, what do you know about yourself? What are your goals? What do you need to do to optimize your nutrition for your own health? And even thinking about it, and Dani alluded to this wonderfully, but it's not just the biological component of our health. It's the psychological history, how that's affected your brain chemistry for that matter, and then even environmentally. Some women, from a cultural standpoint, have grown up with different understanding of menopause and aging than just a white Caucasian woman. So we have to get beyond this idea that there's a universal experience of menopause as well, and appreciate what matters for you. And so in the work that I do with women, it really is coming back to, what do you need to do? What do you know about yourself? What can you control? And just kind of from full disclosure, my clinical history is in the treatment of eating disorders. So I'm very sensitive to a lot of mental health issues that come along with disordered eating and eating disorders. But we know that women are suffering in silence because of disordered eating. They are not telling their doctors about their binge eating or their purging, or potentially 40 years of losing and gaining and losing and gaining. And then they show up in the doctor's office who says, you really need to lose that 20 pounds. And instead of saying, are you concerned about your weight? What have you tried? What can we do to help you? How can we get you support? Versus just the directive that you need to fix this body weight issue that you already feel uncomfortable about.
Right. When you said that, Val, and I know that you're an advocate, there is a very big difference. If you are thin does not necessarily, or skinny, does not mean that you're necessarily healthy. Can you share, why that is a thing?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So 2 women that I've worked with, kind of around the same time. One has a significant trauma history and is in a larger body. Another is a woman who is in a smaller body, kind of never had to, quote unquote, worry about her weight. Both of them I'm working with for different reasons. And they both come to me, and their LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol, coincidentally, were about the same. They were in that borderline high, above where they're supposed to be. They also both started to experience abnormal uterine bleeding as a part of their peri-menopausal experience. The woman in the smaller body went to her doctor, and her doctor said, we should do an ultrasound, find out what's going on with the abnormal uterine bleeding. Turns out she has a fibroid, small fibroid. We're just going to monitor it for the cholesterol, just diet and exercise. The woman in the larger body, same thing, got an ultrasound, discovered it was a fibroid, but was told that her body weight was the reason for her elevated cholesterol and her abnormal uterine bleeding. Because of her excess body weight, it was producing extra estrogen, which was then causing this problem, and she needed to fix it. So the messaging is that the woman in the larger body caused her disease, and they, in my opinion, neither of them got good care. Should the woman in the smaller body be losing weight? Does she need to be on a statin? What is really the intervention? And if we look at it from those health markers, get the blood test, treat to the symptoms, treat to the blood test, versus trying to fix a body size that probably people have been trying to fix, that becomes a problem. So what we refer to that as weight-inclusive care, which is we're really focused on, it doesn't matter, like, yes, we want to lose weight, we want to be a healthy weight, and certainly no one is saying that you shouldn't practice healthy eating and that you need to move your body consistently in a wide variety of ways. But once you're doing all that and you have those behaviors nailed down and you're sleeping and you're managing stress and you're managing your relationships and you have good social connection, then we have to move beyond just the focus on BMI and weight.
I have to say, I love the terms that you use. I love you said the inclusiveness. Did you say body weight inclusiveness? Is that what you said?
It's just weight inclusive, versus weight normative, which is to say, because it's actually being promoted by the United States Protective Task Force. Now they have a statement that doctors are supposed to be telling women between a BMI of 18.5 and 24.9 that you should prevent weight gain. So you need to do everything possible to prevent weight gain. Well, who doesn't want to prevent weight gain? I don't know. I don't think anyone's just saying, yeah, I don't really care. But so the message instead needs to be kind of what Dani's saying, which is, hey, let's focus on what's changed about our nutrition. Maybe now is the time where you have more time because the kids are gone or whatever. And there's always an opportunity to work on practicing even the 3 Ps, right? We have to plan, purchase, and prepare our food. You've got to get yourself moving in a way that you can do consistently. If it's something you hate, you're not going to keep doing it. And connection. I mean, studies are galore in terms of looking at the number one most significant predictor of longevity and happiness is social connection and relationships. So you can be the healthiest person on the planet, and if you're isolating because you don't want to go to an event because you're worried about the food or you're worried about what you look like, that is actually more problematic than going and enjoying a hamburger and french fries. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm going to be the one who gives you permission to have the hamburger and french fries. So those are kind of some things to keep in mind.
I'm going to add something unpopular because I'm the surgeon on the panel, and I'm all about respect. I was involved with the reframing, renaming revolution, and I agree, we body shame women, particularly because as menopause changes where we deposit our adipocytes or our fat, our body starts to change and women start to blame themselves. But if I'm in a room with a woman and she's asking me, why did I develop endometrial cancer? What are my modifiable risk factors, right? I tell them you can't change your genes, you can change smoking, but we know that unopposed estrogen, we know that weight can be problematic. And so if they're asking me, I'm going to give them the data because they have an opportunity to change something in their life if they want. Same with high blood pressure. We can say, okay, well, a 10% change in body weight can do this, or do you want to start medication? For me, I think a woman has that right. Some of them don't want that medication, and that is the final impetus they need to really change things for themselves and almost give themselves permission to take care of themselves. And so I think it's the way it's so unkindly said, but I do believe in mutual decision-making. And my patients are smart, and they know, and they have the right to that information.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. And then my question would be, well, first, if it's unsolicited, so for some women that can be traumatizing.
Yes.
But at the same time, for a woman who's like, what do I need to do to fix this? And, weight loss would be a good idea. Right. Then the next question needs to be, how are they supposed to lose weight?
Right. And then that's what we talk about, like what's going to work for them, because for every person it's different. Some people may want an app. Some people may want to join a group. Some people are like, I've never worked out in my life. Like maybe I should start working out. Obviously, a lot of patients want medication. So that's where I'm talking about mutual decision-making, a curated plan, precision care. There's not a one-size-fits-all. So I don't say, this is what you need to do to lose 20 pounds. But while you are losing weight, let's get the ultrasound, let's get the biopsy, let's get the surgery, let's take care of you. I'm not just going to wait, for you to do this. Yeah.
I think, and many of you might be able to speak to this, I think where women feel frustrated is is, how do I lose the weight?
Right.
I've tried and I've tried again. And so how can I lose the weight? And as a dietitian who has nearly 2 decades trying to help people either gaining or losing based on different things, you know, our best weight loss interventions on average are 7 to 10% of a body weight loss. And so that's great, right? Like that can be really important. But how many people have already done that and gained it back and done that and gained it back? I don't think that that means that we need to ditch the intervention. It's just validating that, okay, what have you tried in the past? What has been helpful? What hasn't been helpful? What can we do? And so I just want to be clear that absolutely that's an important message and we need to deliver that, but it needs to come with, we need to help support you, because women often leave their doctor's office with just okay, I need to lose weight, and I know I need to lose weight. And then they don't have access to care. They don't have access to a health intervention. One example of a study that did the relationship between weight loss and lowering blood pressure. When you look at the intervention for the group that lost weight, what they did is they had 26 weeks of weekly sessions in groups of 3 to 4 people with an exercise physiologist supervising their exercise 3 to 4 times a week for at least 45 minutes. They had a well-controlled diet plan that they were put on. They were encouraged to do journaling. They were encouraged to support each other. They got behavioral intervention about how to manage cravings, how to manage hunger, how to say no to the big events, all those kinds of things. So how many of you would love to do a 26-week, fully supported plan for free that you have complete access to, right? So this is what's important to recognize, absolutely. And how do we give women access to those resources? Because you can pay me out of pocket. You can buy Dani's book. You can maybe do HerMD. There are
With
some
insurance.
With insurance.
With insurance.
So I think that's really where we need to do a better job of helping women figure out, yes, we know this, and then how do we absolutely do this in a way that protects our bone health and cardiovascular health and all those other factors too.
So clearly, we should have done this for a 2-hour session. Mental note, next time we do a double whammy on this one. But guys, they will be around if you have questions. Unfortunately, we have to finish here. So please thank our panel because they are amazing. Somi, Dani,
And Dani and Val, yes.
and we're going to take about a 15-minute break, guys, so make sure you're shopping. Have you gone into the makeup room yet, aesthetics room? Because there's some great things. Go check out HerMD and go eat the waffles.
After we
and
talked about
fried
this.
chicken. Everything.